Previously in Social Studies.
Hello. Back in the early 1700s, before the computers that we are so heavily dependent on today, they used rustic tools such as the astrolabe, compass, and the sextant.
What's a sextant?
Let's hop on board and find out. A sextant is an important tool in navigation. After all, you can take altitudes when navigating and measure the angular distances between things. Who wouldn't want that? All it takes is for you to hold it up to your eye. Only $200.
I thought this was an informative assignment, not a commercial.
Ahem, continuing on.
They didn't have clocks or watches, right?
So then how did they tell time?
Well, aside from the interruption, that is an interesting question. They used an astrolabe. The astrolabe comes from ancient Greek. It helps the astronomers to tell time and was used by the mariners later on. They used it to measure the altitude of the sun and stars to tell on which line of latitude they were.
Oh, what about the compass?
The compass. Well, I hope most of you know what a compass is. Yes?
Not really.
No education these days. I'll just go right to...
The compass?
Yes. No. Well, anyway, the compass was used the magnetic fields that surround Earth, and the needle would always point north. This was critical for the sailors, so they could have direction.
But wouldn't the sun give the sailors direction? Rises in the east, sets in the west, that kind of stuff.
But what if it was cloudy? A storm? Besides, with the exception of summer, the sun is always at an angle in the sky. Unreliable, if you ask me. Today, as I mentioned before, humans are heavily reliant on computers to do all the work. Back then, everyone had to know exactly how to use the instruments. Or you'd get lost in sea and, well...
Wow.
But on the other hand, didn't all the devices help bring around the age of exploration?
Of course! All that seafaring was bound to bring up some exploring. And if this brings us to the end of our discussion, Mr. Height's class especially, we hope you enjoyed this.